All right, today we're talking about arrays, and array is is a command that you can use to create a pattern. So you can copy a single object um, into a pattern, and it could be a rectangular array in which we create either rows or columns or rows and columns, or a polar array where we copy things into a circle. And so these are how they look. And so that was kind of weird. Here's a file that I'm giving you to practice with and work with. And uh, with both types of arrays, there's a third array that follows a path also. So it would copy things along an irregular path made from a spline or a polyline or something. Okay, so with all three of those types of arrays, they can be associative or non-associative. Now, associative means that it's a group. If I go back to here and I click on the array, you can see everything is grouped together. That means in order to edit it, the size of something, you would have to go in and edit the actual source of it, and then they're all tied together. If it's a non-associative, like here, over here, right now, these are all set to be non-associative, meaning I could edit each individual box of it. All right, so how do you do that? So if I can select it first, or I can go into the command, and the command is right here. Okay, rectangular array, or the pull down gives me the other three options, path and polar. And so on the keyboard, if I go AR would be the command for array, or type in array. And you see that's a rectangular array. So I select my object, and I can choose which one I want, a path here. That's because I use the keyboard command. So I'm going to go rectangular. Okay, and so at first, here's where we set it as associative or non-associative. Okay, now here we set a number of columns and a number of rows. Okay, if we were working in 3D, we could go levels, which would be, vertical or in the Z direction, if you will. And when we're talking about the distance between, it's the distance from start point to start point. So right now it's set at 1.5. That's the distance from this corner to this corner. It is not the distance between the boxes. Okay, it's the distance from the start point to the same point on the next object. And total distance. Okay, we can change either of these. So if I were to change this to 3 columns, okay, so it adjusts it there. If I were to change the distance between them to 2, see, it spaces them further out. If I change total distance, we'll say 6, it changed the distance between them automatically. But the total distance, look at the icon there, would be the distance from this point to this point right here. Okay. So I'm going to leave this, and I'm going to leave it set at associative, and I'll hit, and you can use the grips. So that was number of columns. I could use the grips here. There we go. So that changes my overall and the spacing. Here I can change that or the axis angle. Wow, that's kind of, huh. That's a new one to me. Oh, that's kind of cool. That's spiffy, huh? You like that? Okay, so that's on a rectangular, and if I'll show you here, if I have to edit the source, okay, and you see it changes the way things look, and I can edit the size of it. Oh, what happened? The whole thing just disappeared on me. I'm not sure what happened to that. Let's go back through it again. I must have clicked something wrong. Exit. Okay. Save changes. Okay, there we go. And because it was associative, editing one changed all of them. Remember, we set this one up as non-associative, and so what I get is individual boxes, and I would have to edit each one, and I cannot adjust the spacing or the columns or nothing. It just duplicates all of those boxes for you. Okay, and so let's look at a polar arrays. And so I'll go polar array, and I want to select the object that I want to copy. So I'll select the small circle and press enter. Now it wants to know the center point of the array. In this case, it's the center point of the yellow circle. So I want to go to the center point and select that. And so now, because this radius was already set, that's the radius that it's using because I said the center of it. All right, and so my things up here have changed. And so I've got 6 items, 60 degrees between each item for a 360-degree circle. So if I edit some of these, let's say I only want them to go 270 degrees. And so you can see I've still got 6 objects, but it's only within that 270-degree arc. Maybe if I change that to 180, makes it a little easier for you to see. Okay, and so I could change the number of objects here. Okay, or if I know the angle that I want them, I don't know, we'll say 75 degrees each, and then it adjusts the overall fill. So that's how a polar array works. And of course, you could be associative, non-associative. You could rotate items as they go. If I'm just going to come in here and let's, those are associative. So let's put a little rectangle here. Oh, what happened to it? And so now if we do a polar array from here, using the rectangle, center point, okay, and so now you can see I got 6 of them, and rotate is turned on so that it rotates them as they go around the circle. If I turn that off, it keeps them all in the same orientation. Okay. Direction determines if you're going clockwise or counterclockwise. Okay, and where that would come in is if you're doing maybe not a full, 360 degrees around your circle, and so it changes that. Okay, so that's pretty much how arrays work, both polar and rectangular. Associative, like we said, keeps it all grouped together as one so that you're editing the whole thing. But if you go non-associative, it just copies duplicates of the item that you've got. So I'm giving you this file that you can practice in to see how these things work. You don't have to turn it in or anything like that. Just practice to get a feel for it, and you'll see how using an array can help you in a lot of your drawings, especially when you've got, especially the polar. In mechanical drawing, you're going to see a lot where you've got a bolt pattern or a hole pattern around a circle, and it's easier than drawing individual things. So that's how it works.